Hello YouTube, it's me again. The backdrop for this video is Jack Johnson against James Jeffries. This fight took place in 1910 on July 4th in Reno, Nevada. James Jeffries was an undefeated heavyweight champion. He retired in 1903. When he was asked to take this fight, he weighed 323 pounds. On fight day, he weighed in at 220. He was in top shape. Some people say he was in better shape than he ever had been in. Fighting a black man back then was really unheard of. It was unprecedented. The fact that he did it, as much as he probably was, a racist, you got to give him his due, because everybody asked him not to do the fight and he did it. Jack Johnson was guaranteed $60,000 for that fight. He was guaranteed $40,000. The difference though is I think he had a signing bonus of about $45,000. The reason that I picked Jack Johnson is, in my opinion, he's the toughest heavyweight fighter ever. And he was the most dominating heavyweight fighter. He was so strong and so skilled in defensive fighting that his opponents couldn't hurt him. He was Floyd Mayweather before Floyd Mayweather. And he was doing this in the heavyweights. And he was fighting some big men. Fighters back then were tough. They were very tough. Physically, they match up pretty well with fighters today. Endurance-wise, these guys had a lot more endurance, and their mental toughness, I think, was far greater. There were tougher times. They didn't have computers. They did not have the conveniences that we had. And they were able to do quite well with the tools available to them. It really makes you wonder, what has happened to us after all these years, where we couldn't fight 45 rounds. Their fights went beyond what heavyweight championship fights go today. Heavyweight championship fights are 12-round fights. These guys, at a minimum, went to 15, sometimes 20, sometimes 30, sometimes 40 rounds, 3-minute rounds. They weren't fighting for 30 seconds at a clip. These were 3-minute rounds. So these guys were tough. I want you to look at Jack, and I want you to reflect on his toughness, because I want you to reflect on these words out of Joshua 23, verse 9 and 10. For the Lord hath driven out from before you great nations and strong. But as for you, no man hath been able to stand before you until this day. One man of you shall chase 1,000, for the Lord your God, your Elohim, he it is that fighteth for you, as he hath promised you. Those are powerful words. The Most High is telling us that when we fight, he's fighting for us. That's if we're righteous. If we do what he wants us to do, then when we fight, he fights our battles. That's his promise to us. So what I'm saying to you is, doesn't it make sense for you to go out there and fight for the things you want? Because you know you have the Most High on your side, defending your position. No one else really has that. We have it and we don't use it. And I'm saying, use it, please. Be tough. Look at the crowd that Jack Johnson is fighting in. Look at the people. He is in a sea of hostility. And he is having fun. He is smiling. He is taunting. He is joking. But he is performing. He is giving it his all with odds that we don't see anymore. We just don't see anyone going against odds like Jack Johnson went against. Do you realize that Jack Johnson invented all of the marketing techniques that are currently being used today? When Jeffries retired, a Canadian guy was given the title, and he was told not to fight any black fighters. Jack Johnson followed this man from the United States to the UK to Australia over a 2-year period, taunting this guy to get a fight. And it wasn't until a fight in Australia where the guy had enough and he said, okay, I'll fight you. And Jack Johnson got his opportunity, first black man in America to fight for the heavyweight title of the world. Doesn't this sound familiar? The stuff that people do today? They're just doing what he did long before then. And he lived a colorful life. Look, I don't approve necessarily of all the things he did, but in the time that he did them, it was revolutionary. What he did then was revolutionary. He was making a bold statement that a black man can do whatever a black man wants to do. And unfortunately, we didn't hear him as well as we should have. He prospered. He had a lot of enemies, but he was smart. And he navigated around his enemies. And if he had more allies, more people who were willing to be like him in their own image, he could have done a lot more. So what I'm saying, and I'm not going to string this out, is Most High is on our side. Don't forget it. Go out there, fight the battles you need to fight, go after the things you want, and get them. They're available to you. Go and get them. It's your right. It's your heritage. And we got plenty of role models. Jack Johnson is somebody we should never forget. We should always remember him. We should remember his skill, his cunning, his intelligence, his accomplishments, and his courage. We should never forget that. Why don't you do a little research and check this dude out? He was a bad dude. He was a dude that we should all be proud to call an ancestor. With that, I'm signing out. Take care.